Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the single player Let's Play series. So today, while there was a bit of catastrophe that occurred in my recording setup, I recorded an entire 50-minute long video, and apparently my microphone, which was using the correct microphone, going through the right settings, apparently Sound Blaster decided to put on the voice clarity mode, which on my professional XLR microphone for some reason means that it makes it sound like I'm talking through a $40 wireless headset, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why it decided to go with that setting, and why it has decided to do what it has done, but I think I fixed it. I know I fixed it. In fact, I'm just hopeful that the problem doesn't return, but I wanted to go ahead and show off what I've done in that last episode and in between that episode and the episode before it, and then what I will possibly do, if there's enough interest expressed, is I can go through and I've got that whole 50-minute set of footage. I can always post it just as an unlisted video that I can put in the description of this video if you want to watch it, but I think that this recap video will be a little bit better formatted, so I highly doubt that anyone's really going to want that really crappy version where my thoughts weren't completely put together, a couple of holes were poked in my plans, and worst of all, my mic sounded horrible. So anyways, let's get started with what I've done so far. So you may remember in the last episode that I've published, this whole setup here got nice and cleaned up, and we had started to look into a couple of issues, a couple of holes that we ran into, a couple of things that we ran into, I should say, problems that we ran into in between episodes. And one of them is the fact that our fluid compressors down here were running pretty much all the time to keep things, going, keep things juiced up. And somehow, with that being the case, still, they burned through all of my biodiesel, even though they're configured to automatically turn off. And even if it says always in the top, by the way, that's just a glitch. It'll say always until I right-click, and then it'll figure it out. So just don't worry about that if you do see that. I logged in today, and I noticed, which, by the way, this is on a small private server now, so this is nice that I can leave things running in the background without regretting it. But I noticed that all my biodiesel had been emptied out and that we weren't producing enough anymore. And what happened was we ran completely out of cabbage seeds. You can even tell we only have 149 of those now. So we were burning through seeds quicker than we were burning through sugarcane, which is good. But what I found was a better way of doing things. So what I've done is I've created another compact machine that is dedicated solely for the purpose of creating the resources needed to make biodiesel. So this is the very compact setup in our compact machine. Up here we have an XNet controller. I could explain it that way, but I think it'd be more interesting to just visually explain it. Water from here goes to all 6 of these phytogenic insulators. These phytogenic insulators grow crops. They are all upgraded maximally, and one cyclical processing upgrade has been put in, which prevents this melon seed, which is always recycled, prevents that recycled melon seed from ever running out and not going away. If I took this out, what you would see is on the next successive craft, if I take that out, watch what happens, that seed goes away and it doesn't come back. If I put that right back in there, it's going to have to be reloaded, but then it will eventually go back in. So now, these 3 on the side are made to create whole melon blocks and seeds. Seeds from these are extracted and put into this dimensional chest. And so all I need from this is the seeds, because remember, we're just turning seeds into plant oil using the compacting recipe here. Once the seeds are, once this is filled up to 64, by the way, it stops filling more in. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. The whole melon blocks come here to our sawmill, which also cuts them into 8 melon slices and then 1 seed, which is just whatever, it's fine. Probably not the most efficient. Thinking about it now, an uncompressing or the unpacking, this would have been more precise because this is a chance and this is not, but I didn't think of it. I wanted to use a new machine block. Regardless, this guy produces melon slices from our whole melon blocks and outputs them to the top here into our sequential fabricator, which turns melon slices into melon seeds incredibly quickly. Just to show you how quickly, it's that quickly. And so now I'll put these back in. This side over here, it's just in charge of making sugarcane, nothing else. That goes in here. And you'll notice that these are all stocked up with bone meal from a system that you're probably very familiar with. So that's the system. This is way harder to set up than it was to explain because I made a couple mistakes, tried to do a lot of alternatives. None of them really worked out in my favor. It was just kind of this whole big old mess. It wasn't really ideal at all. So this is a way cleaner, way better setup, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. And so now that that is working, we're producing biodiesel constantly. Now, in the process of making all those machines that you saw, I got tired of making them, so I set up this over here. This, the best way I describe this is I learned while fiddling around with the setup that when you come around to the sides or the backs of a mechanical crafter, you see these weird little indicators between blocks. If you right-click on them, you can conjoin blocks on that joint. And so if I wanted to conjoin them, I certainly could. But what this means is that if I right-click with an item, let's say, like, you see how all 6 of these are conjoined, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I right-click the front of these with a stack of rockets, rockets will be evenly distributed to all 6 of those. So this is what I learned, and this was actually really valuable to learn because I didn't know that this was a functionality. This is very, very helpful, by the way. And so as such, for the aesthetics right now, I've gone ahead and split this up completely on the top. I probably should do this here as well, so I'll go ahead and do that. And so what this means is that anytime we want to come over here and craft, we just have to get scaffolding, for example. If I wanted to, I'm just going to use these treated wood. And I just right-click here, and now look at that. Those 8 are done. But there's even more to it, because you saw there was some piping around back. What we've done is we've filtered. So we have a pipe extracting underneath. These are just facaded pipes, right? Extracting. So here we're going to put in 4 steel scaffolding. Here we're going to put in 3 of our sheet metal, and then we have our machine frame, our light and heavy redstone engineering blocks, or sorry, our light and redstone engineering blocks. Did I say light, heavy, and redstone? I'm not really even sure at this point. And then lastly over here, more steel scaffolding, so that now when I load this up with engineering blocks and some frames, which I'll just craft one for fun anyways, and some scaffolding. When I put these in here, oh, and some sheet metal, can't forget the sheet metal. When I put these in here, it loads them up automatically for me now. And so this has made this incredibly easy to use now. So that was the other thing that we did in the last episode, or the botched episode, as I'm going to call it. This here birch farm, this is one of the things I did between episodes. This birch farm ended up being too small because of how we had these guys set up. So we were actually running out of birch. So I made this a little bigger, and I fixed my ender drawer. You may or may not remember, but my ender drawer over here, remember I put a void upgrade in it and then it didn't let me take it out? It didn't show up here? Well, I still don't know why. When I did like some NBT data commands, they still didn't show up. So I honestly, truthfully don't know what is going on. And by the way, I've been dying to cover these up with scaffolds, so I'm just going to do that really quickly. So I just ended up making new ender drawers and putting them down and relinking them to each other. So now this guy's full. And when it's full, and it jams up our machines, which is good because that means they stop trying to make more charcoal and more creosote oil, which is perfect because that means we now have an incredibly large backlog of birch wood. So I think that just about covers the biggest number of changes that we did. At this point, we're now able to produce a large and reliable amount of biodiesel, and I would imagine that not only is our setup decently scalable, but also we should have a sufficient amount of our resources for the time being and going forward. You can see that we are full up on rubber, we are full up on latex, we should be pretty good on I haven't been checking, which is completely on me, but we should be pretty good on latex, fluid latex. Yeah, we have 512 resin and 256 latex, or 249 latex, sorry, not 56. And our latex production has been decently okay. It's not been the fastest. And so in an attempt to assist that, I disabled the latex here that turns into the rubber. The rubber will 100% of the time come here now because we have too much rubber. We have 16.5 thousand rubber and only a third of that, almost a little more than a third at this point, in plastic. So I've decided to prioritize plastic for the time being because my plans for the next episode, once we're done here, and again, this is going to be a pretty short one, is I've started coming up with a color palette over here, and this is where I'm going to build this. But I've been wanting to work on getting a nice new industrial base setup. So we're going to go with kind of a darker theme here with some laboratory tile blocks and some diorite cut andesite slab ceilings. And I'm going to go with the classic portal theme that I think I do pretty often nowadays. I have a question. Why are you connected? And why are you not? I'm honestly a little confused, actually. Z part left, Z part right. I don't know why those are connected. It's a little weird. It's pretty cool, but why? And what did I do here that made that not work? Why is it just here? I don't know. Anyways, don't mind that at all, I guess. But this is sort of the color palette that I've come up with that we're going to build a nice big industrial factory for. Now, what the industrial factory will be for is for ore processing, for more auto crafting, and most importantly, this will be where we're going to set up our industrial foregoing technology once we get there, and our beyond Earth space technology and some of our advanced generation and storage of stuff. So I think that is pretty much all I can show you in this incredibly short episode that has been, like I said, horribly botched by myself. Again, I do apologize. Recording just happens, you know, and sometimes I sit down and I press the record button and I don't think to go check through the files. And honestly, it took me about 25 minutes to debug what even happened because I uninstalled the Creative Sound Blaster software because it's really bad. And since my mic is an XLR mic, I figured all I need is a driver anyway. But apparently somehow the software, after I uninstalled it, decided to go back and sabotage me anyways. So yeah, very fun stuff. Not really. I don't think there's really anything else to recap, except I did make a flux borer and a flux saw last episode. I'm not really using them that often. I'm just using them for mining right now, which is why we have a handful of netherite scrap. So I'm keeping those around for some of the advanced machines that we're going to get into very soon. But I do hope you guys enjoyed. I am very sorry about the super short episode. But I'm going to be working on getting a couple of things cleaned up now that we no longer have to be producing massive amounts of sugarcane. I would love to get a couple of things figured out and set up. And you know what? Actually, I did say that I was going to end the episode, but I have an idea. There's something that I've been wanting to do for a while anyways. So why don't we do this? Why don't we do this really quickly? I don't think we're going to need this much sugarcane ever. So let's go ahead and grab some dirt. Let's grab some seeds. We've got the tomato seeds. We've got cabbage seeds already set up somewhere. We're going to need, let's see, let's get some more wheat seeds going. You'll see why in just a bit. And then we can probably go for some, where am I guess I don't have any onion seeds, huh? Well, we can just turn an onion into onion seeds. That's easy enough. Is it not? Right, you know, there is no onion seed. You just put that in. I forget. It's slightly inconsistent and therefore a little weird in my head how that works or doesn't work. So yeah, what we're going to do here is we're going to do some crops just to keep things good and running. Anything else that I might be thinking of or might want? Oh, rice. Yes, I almost forgot about rice. This is going to be through dirt. Okay, could not remember if it was dirt or if it was somehow like water or something. And we can go ahead and do another wheat, I guess. So here's what I have in mind. I have been wanting, oh, actually, no, this is related. Let's do cactus. You might notice that I already have a ton of cactus, so you might be curious why I'm doing cactus again. But I have this plan in my head, right? I want to teach our system how to do a couple of new crafting things so that we can make slime balls a little more reliably. So one thing, by the way, I want to show you real quick, and then I'll be done with going back in time. I fixed this setup. So what I found is if I was crafting multiple batches and it sent, let's say it was doing, this was the issue that I ran into actually, was the compact machine wall. If it was making 10 of these, right, it would send 10 lead sheet metal and 10 ender pearls. Well, if there's 10 and 10 in here, what it was doing before was just putting sheet metal, go, sheet metal, go, sheet metal, go, and then sheet metal, go, sheet metal, ender pearl, success, and then just be tossing stuff all over the place. What I've done is I've turned our crafter here to a new redstone setting that was not configured before, and that is redstone pulse inserts the next set. So what I have done is this barrel, whenever there is something that comes here into this barrel to be imported, it emits a very short, because this is pretty fast, a very short redstone comparator signal, which is a pulse to tell this guy, hey, the first crafting set is done, send in the next crafting set. So now, if I were to ask for 20 compact walls, it will work pretty successfully. I actually do want to show you all of the inner workings of this, so let me just wait up for that for just a little bit. So it actually did break because I forgot. This is actually redstone signal unlocks auto crafting, I believe is what I'm actually looking for. So if I do these two here, you'll hear that it's a success. And then it should send in another batch. Yep. And so now each redstone pulse will send in the next batch. Just like that. So anyways, the things that I wanted to get set up today were, of course, to get the automatic slime ball cooking, or I don't really even know how you want to phrase it, but get automatic slime ball stuff set up because I keep on running into issues with needing slime balls and not ever having any. I have an excess amount of seeds because I've changed this setup a little bit. I was using... and actually, now that I think of it, we don't need this setup here anymore. So we can get rid of it because you will always keep stuff in here anyway. So we actually don't need this anymore. You'll see that these will automatically come from the existing machines. Should come from the existing machines, right? That's interesting. Okay, so here is part of the plan. We're going to teach our system how to make white dye, which it already knows how to do, and how to make cactus green, which is not even what it's called anymore. It's just, I think, green dye now. And so that's going to be that recipe. We're automatically making bones, so white dye is free and infinite. We're automatically making cactus, so green dye is free and infinite. And if you can do the math here, you can probably imagine that we're going for lime green dye at the moment. So lime dye is, of course, just a simple crafting recipe and a combination of the two. We'll go ahead and put these where they belong. I believe I already have a couple of dyes somewhere, maybe? Yeah, here we go. We've got this one here. I'm probably going to go ahead and put these down here so that I can have them together, roughly. And then, of course, we're going to have our auto smelting recipe here in the redstone furnace for lime dye. So there's that. We have the ability to make a crafting upgrade for our card here, so we'll probably do that as well. And then we'll just grab an exporter, and that should do for now, I think, at least with what I have in my head. So now, we have infinite wheat. This is also, hopefully, no surprise to you. So that's coming from our cloches. And if we take our wheat and we toss it in a millstone, we can turn it into wheat flour, which is what I already have here. I was testing something out previously, and so that's kind of how I landed with a stack of wheat flour. But if you combine wheat flour with water in one of the many different ways, which I think I'm going to go with bulk washing for now, what we can do, and I think I'll need a fan for that, right? Yeah, we'll need another fan. So let's go and get those on the way as well. If I get that going with the fan washing our dough, or washing our wheat flour, it will turn it into dough, and then dough can be crafted together with lime dye to make slime balls. So at this point, all I need to do is master a couple of these auto crafting recipes. Pretty straightforward, at least in my eyes. So yeah, let's go ahead and get something like that set up. So what I'm thinking is we could do... I'd really like to reuse this setup that we have here, since we kind of have not much space, though. I'm not sure that that's going to be the most doable. But it could be cool to have haunting and, yeah, actually, ooh, that would be really cool. Yeah, let's try to do that. Let's do haunting as well. So let's grab a soul campfire, because there are a couple of haunting recipes that are fun to have. If I remember correctly, there is one for prismarine, one for, ooh, blackstone. That's a nice one. There's one for glow ink sacks. What's the one I'm looking for? This one. Lapis lazuli into prismarine shards. This one's a pretty good one. It's not very good of a chance, but the way I see it is like we can say, hey, 3 lapis equals 1 prismarine shard, and then that'll do it. So there are quite a few little recipes that we can do here that I think would be pretty fun. So what I have in mind here is that we grab a depot. We have everything we should need for another propeller for another encased fan. So I think we should be capable. Well, no, we actually... Right. We can't exactly put water down next to the lava. Okay, disregard that for now. We will come up with a good place to put this, though. Give me just a little bit to figure what that would look like. Okay, so I'm thinking we do a shaft here. We have a chain drive here, here, and then we make it do the twist, like so. These will lead into our fans, which might be blowing the right way. They are. Heck yeah. We can put this here, and then what we can have is we can entangle these if necessary, which will be necessary. So what I'm thinking is we do... Just let me get some layered limestone. I think would be just fine. I want this to look decently good. And we have so many of these entangled blocks that it just sort of seems like a no-brainer at this point to try to set them up. And we should also have that network connection that we used last episode somewhere very nearby. I just have to remember where. It should be right here, yeah? Hey, look at that. I got that completely right. So we can run a cable over here, like so. And then if we grabbed, unfortunately, I am completely out of andesite casing right now, so I'm going to have to make some. Maybe that's something else we try to do sometime soon. I'm really tired of having to do this process here by hand, so I'd love to just not anymore. But, you know, it is what it is at times, at least, so we will do this by hand for now. I just want to pretty this up a slight bit if we can. Like so. Delightful, delightful. We grab some of our, oh right, we actually do want these to be free now that I think of it. We can grab just a little bit of limestone here. Like so. Again, I will figure out what to do with our little cable here, so I'll just put that there for now. And we can simply hook up our entangled blocks here and here. And they can go together right here, like so, and like so. So what we could do is maybe get another crafter. We'll do the mix. I did not mean to do that. I've also got some ladders, right? Yeah, these andesite ladders look super good, so I'm going to use those and go ahead and get these permanently set up here, because they look way too good. And what we'll do is we'll put our water here with the depot here, which the depot is what we're going to entangle to. We'll put a soul campfire here with a depot here. And again, that depot will be entangled to. Do I have a... Yeah, I do have an anvil up here. Heck yes. Very convenient. So we will have a haunting crafter, and we will have a washing crafter. We'll grab a dimensional chest. We'll grab some pipes. And while that finishes up, we can go ahead and wrap up the last of this over here. So we will have the following. I'm going to go ahead and just clear out here. So washing is on the left, so we'll go ahead and put this here. And I will link that depot up like so. We'll link this one up here like so. And then I can do our haunting there. We'll just go ahead and rotate that the direction that we need it to. There we are. Perfect. And then we can hook up cabling along the back here. Like so. And now we should be able to at least come by if we ever need to and pretty easily configure what gets extracted into the dimensional chest here. What are we possibly waiting on? I am not sure. I have a weird feeling that it's probably just jammed down here again. I'm not really sure why this keeps happening, but it does. I'm betting everything's just waiting to be crafted, probably. Cancel. Cancel. Crafter is blocked. I think this is the correct setting. Let's try making one more dimensional chest. I really just want to be certain. What are we going to be waiting on here? We've just got a couple of things together. Yeah, I really think that has to be it. I'm going to leave that there for now. I'll probably forget about it over time. But I'm really tired of having issues with this. I've been thinking about installing a mod that will hopefully handle machine auto crafting. I don't mind this solution, but it's been very inconsistent, so I don't really care for that too terribly much. Anyways, let's hop down here again. And for now, I'm just going to tell you that anything that goes into this, we're going to have that. We're going to have an extraction module here. And I'm going to tell you, you can extract basically whatever you want. So we can do another extraction card here. Tell you extract from the entangled block and extract from the entangled block. And items in filter slots are disallowed. So we don't want to pull wheat flour. So if I were to put an entire stack of wheat flour in here, it should stay in here until it gets washed, which right now is never. So we will fix that. And that should, in theory, I hope, do it. All I'll have to do now is just grab a different limestone texture because I don't want to conflict here with the existing limestone texture because I don't want it to connect. So we'll just do that, I suppose. I don't really care. This is just temporary anyway. And ta-da, it's gone, which tells you that that is working. We should have wheat dough. Dough? What happened? Right, that went into the... Yes, I misconfigured this. Hang on. Yes, it went here, which is fine. I just meant to change that to private. There we go. Easy peasy. So now I'm just going to teach it how to basically go from point A to point B there. The last thing that we're going to need to do is just have a way to make our wheat flour, and that shouldn't be too terribly difficult to do either. Okay, so I think we have a pretty clean setup here. Essentially, we have another crafter here. All of these are sharing this one-dimensional chest, and you can see our crafter already has a recipe for wheat flour. And then here we're just extracting anything, because apparently the millstone it has a smart logic to only extract the very items that are actually the output. And then over here, we're still going to have to manually reconfigure and deconfigure these as needed. That's going to be slightly inconvenient, but not too terrible for what we're doing here. So at this stage, we have this, right? I should be able to teach you to just do this magic. And if we come over here, we should see in their washing station, there we go, that's dough. And we should be able to go from dough and lime dye to slime ball, just with more very simple crafting. So if I were to put this here and ask for some slime balls, let's say I asked for 192 of them, because we really have quite a bit of excess. I expect that we're going to see wheat flour. This is really, I wish I could tell you to do a stack at a time. Maybe I should tell you to do a stack at a time. Let's take our wheat flour recipe. No, not this one, sorry. Our dough recipe, this washing one. What we can do is, since it's a processing recipe, we can come over here and load it up. And if I right click, we can say that 64 in equals 64 out. And then it's going to craft them one stack at a time rather than one at a time, because it is actually, it's not that it's inefficient or efficient really either way, but I just prefer, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, doesn't really matter either which way. Okay, so I've changed up a couple of things, not too terribly much, but I have basically replicated the setup that I have over there, but for washing on this side. And that makes things a little bit cooler because now we can take our crafter for washing, which is right here, and we can just slap it basically anywhere, but what would be smartest would be to hook it into a chest first, rather than sort of just shooting for the best and hoping that things work well. So let's go ahead and grab a barrel. We'll just take one of these. We'll go ahead and grab another one of our funnels. We've got a good handful of those at this point. And so we'll just put you... It's a little tight for space here, to be fair. We'll just put you here. We'll rotate you the right way, not to worry. We'll put you here. And we'll put you here. So now anything that comes through here should be washed, and I can just piggyback off of these right here. Wasn't sure if it would be easier to go one way or another. I don't really think it matters, so I could just do that as well. I think that's pretty straightforward. And so now I can come in here and ask for things to be washed very, very, very easily. And so if I wanted to repeat the same thing that I had done before, right? So we still have our dough recipe. Sorry, our wheat flour recipe. So if I look for wheat flour here, you can see that that's still set up. I just hid it down there. It's still the same exact thing though. And so if I tell you, right, I did already make that. If I tell you, hey, here's how to do that, I can find it. There's a handful of ways that I could find this recipe, but I'm just going to do this. If I ask for some dough, it's going to start washing. Of course, we can't really see the particles through the Panzer glass, but just trust me that it is. And we may want to get a brass funnel for this. Now that I think about it, I think a brass funnel would be good. Brass funnel like so, and we can just break that and put that there instead. That way it's outputting whole stacks at a time. So there we go. It's the same premise, the same setup. Everything should be going really, really well at this point. And everything's running pretty cleanly, but there is still one portion that I wanted to change up. I at first had made it so that the auto crafting was occurring for that, for the process of making slime balls from dough, but I wanted to change it up because I keep on just using the auto crafting feature, and there's one feature that I haven't used yet, and not only is it blocking me from finishing a quest chapter, but it's also like this is all using Create's technology, so I wanted to sort of dive into that in this setup. So we're going to do that. I've got a basin here in the ground, and what we're going to do is we're going to tell you that your recipe filter is for a slime ball. So you can see we have 188 slime balls. If I tell you, hey, you can only make slime balls, it knows now, hey, I can only make slime balls. I'm going to cover that back up, though. Now I'm going to make a mixer, a mechanical mixer. This is one of the few things that I still have not made. So we are going to make one of these. And once this all gets done, what we're going to do is we're going to tell it, tell our auto crafting system how to just pass stuff on into this setup. That should be enough for the whisk. We can now put our mechanical mixer down. That is a quest completed. And now all that's left is this, which we'll do this someday. But this is the one quest that I've really been struggling to figure out how I'm going to actually ever use. But I think I have an idea. So what we can do is we're going to need to hook this up to rotational energy, which is not a problem at all. We're just going to grab some gears or some cogwheels. We're also going to need some of the, what are they called again? I always forget what these are called. The encased chain drives. Let's grab 3 of these. And what we can do is just hook them up here. Hook these up all the way through and through. Do you need 2 of these? No, I just want symmetry. So that's why we're doing this the way that we are. Just personal preference more than anything. And actually, for now, I may just hook up the one side until I'm done here. And what we'll do here is we will hook up, we'll hook up you to you with a mechanical belt. So rather than having to waste 2 gearboxes here, you can just do vertical mechanical belts to make things spin. And so that's what we're going to do here, just to keep things nice and clean. And so now that we've got that done, we've got our glowstone somewhere, I think, right? Yes, we've got that there. what we'll do is we'll just run this straight on up like so. We'll cover this up so that it looks really good. And we will do not one, but 2 cogwheels here. And so now all that's left is A, to put the right block down right there, and B, to tell it, hey, anytime that you get a signal from a crafter to make something, in this case, you know, we'll have to run our cables over, not a major deal, but definitely a slight inconvenience. I think what we might do is run it below. Let me go and get some more of these crafting while that runs. But hey, anytime you get these 2 resources, here's what to do. And what we'll do is we'll do, whoops, this is not where I wanted to be. Easy enough to fix, just kind of a nuisance right now to go through this area, but that's totally fine. Let's rename this to mixing. And what we'll do is we'll put this here. We'll tell you that I don't think I have the slime ball recipe anymore. I do not. That is good. If I tell you how to make a slime ball and I told you that it was this automatic shapeless crafting recipe, and put that there, and of course hook everything up as discussed, which is, like I said, also going to be a decent amount of work to sort out, then we should be good to go once we get this hooked up. All right, so with this cable here and this cable here, that should do it. We can now start to fix up this slight amount of chaos. You should now be live, right? If I come down here and sneak live, heck yeah, you're good to go. And if I were to, oh wait, how am I going to pull out of this? Uh-oh. I didn't think that part through at all, actually. We might need to do something else here for that. Interesting. That could be annoying, but definitely doable still. All right, we'll just put the importer there. That should do it. So if we asked for, let me make sure I'm not going to fall back in there again. If we asked for slime ball, just the one, how's that going to go? We've got that doing its thing. I don't think that got to finish. Yeah, I don't think that got to finish at all. Let's see about the dough. Let's see. Since you're filtered for only the one recipe, I think that's fine. I mainly just wanted to do something different for this, since this is something that we'll probably start to keep a stock of. So there we go. There's our mixing it up advancement that I was looking for. That's why I was pretty sure that it wasn't going to work. But yeah, this is... I see what I did. That does not need to go there. We'll do that there and that there. And we've got a couple more for you over here. And there we go. So now if I were to go through and request a bunch of slime balls going forward, we can go ahead and do that. You'll see it knows exactly what to do here. And that's going to go ahead and start stacking up all these items in here and making them as quickly as it can. So I think that's going to be dang near as efficient as this is going to get. Now, this is very manual and very hard-coded. This one, however, the washing station is way easier. So if there's anything else that we want to wash using the fans, which are the easiest way to look this up, if there's any of these recipes that we want to get into at a later point, then that's pretty easy to automate, honestly. That's going to just be fully automatic. Should not take any time at all to do. There's not really a lot of recipes here that are particularly good. We don't need clay. We're already producing it. But the concrete, powder to concrete works out pretty well. Magma to obsidian might be interesting. Is there a way to make magma blocks reliably? I don't think so. Okay. Looks like you can clean off a chalkboard. I like that. I like that. Looks like you can undye a handful of wools, which are also pretty cool. In fact, I think I have a bunch of black wool from a early expedition. So for now, I'll just toss you down here and go ahead and get all these colored wools uncolored, because I don't need 46 different colors of wool. So yeah, anyways, that seems to be working out pretty nicely. I'm pretty happy with how this is going. So I know that this was kind of a weird episode with a lot of things that broke last episode that you never got to see. But I do hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you very soon in another episode. Anyways, until then, take care.